Swami, you know how my memory is. My sister calls it very selective memory. So you have to put the thoughts, you have to put the experiences into words in the way which you would want. So I surrender totally to you, to your thoughts, to your words, to put your experiences and share them with everyone. And they are not just my experiences, I think they are all universal experience and they pertain to everyone. So the best experience I had was Etna called me from Delhi asking me to share my experiences. Swami, I don't know. You, in your own way, became Vyas and made me Ganesha and asked me to write without asking questions about whatever experience that you had given me. So I said, Swami, I can't write. I have not written for years. What do I write? No, you'll forget. So you please write down so that they're all, but don't ask any questions. I said, okay, Swami, whatever you say. So here I am before all of you. And Swami is putting into words whatever experiences he gave me and what experiences he gave me to share with everyone so that they pass on and they are not mine or thine, they are everyone's. So the journey, Swami, please help me in recapitulating, recounting and relating without any questions. Now, how do I go back into the journey which is of several lives? But coming to this life, I think my first experience was when we were posted in Jabalpur, way back in 70s. And this colleague of my husband was a very ardent devotee. The whole family were devotees of Swami. I had heard of Swami through my younger brother, but I had not had his darshan. So, anyways, so there was some confusion, some problem at the factory, and there was a huge demonstration and protest and whole lot of almost 10,000 laborers, unions accumulating at the gate, wanting to burn his effigy, shouting slogans. And his wife was so distraught. She said, Swami, how can this happen? My husband's effigy is being burnt. I cannot take it. You have to do something. And you will not believe the police was there, the district authorities were there, everyone was there because they were expecting a lot of trouble. And suddenly, as some people were about to light the fire, from nowhere, a swarm of bees came. And the bees dispersed and disintegrated. But only those who were about to light the fire were badly stung by the bees. People were looking at all sides, from where are the bees coming? There are no chattas, nothing around, from where are they coming? But they stung only those who were about to light the fire, and the entire beer dispersed. And there was total peace and quiet, and the police and the authorities just stood there, wondering what had happened. So that was my first exposure and experience of Swami's omnipotence, omnipresence, of his intense compassion to the yearning, to the pleading of his devotee. So that is where the life really began. And then on, it took off after some years, because for some years I was still there. And so, as I was saying, Swami made me himself the Vyas and me the Ganesha. So I have this all written before me, and I don't know how I'm going to read it, but that is how it is. So first darshan I had was of Shirdi Sai Baba in 1990, 1st January. I had gone there and had very good darshan of Sai Ram. And when I came back in February, I got a call from my younger brother if I wanted to accompany my mother to Puttaparthi for Shivratri. I said, no, of course I can't do, because my father-in-law was with me. He was not too well. and he had to have me by his side all the time. So I said, I can't leave him, I can't go. So my husband was listening to it, and from behind he said, no, you have to go, and you must go. Well, this is how it happened. Okay, so he whatever it is, he told my brother, okay, you get her ticket also. Same night, I had a dream in which I saw a hall. On one side of the hall was a chair, on the dais was a chair on which Mata Anandmai was sitting, and with whom I was very familiar. My mother used to take us all to Mata right from childhood. And on other chair, uh, Bhagwan was sitting. So that was the dream I saw. And then suddenly my mother started taking me to Ma. And then Ma pointed towards Baba. And then my mother started taking me to Swami. The Swami stopped my mother. And I just started walking towards Swami. He became vaster and vaster and vaster. I just walked into him and was engulfed in the kind of love which I had never ever experienced before. And I had the secure feeling that I had reached home. And I didn't have to sort of go anywhere now. This was my home, and this was my whatever. So that was the second experience. In the hall was the same, identical to the one I had in the dream. So that was my first. And then Swami, those days Swami used to be in the mandir. So he suddenly, when we went for darshan to the bhajan hall in Parthi, my mother took us. So it was early morning. Swami used to come by 7 o'clock at that time. That particular day, before the darshan, my mother said, let's go to the bhajan mandir, and she took me to the bhajan mandir. And we were just standing, and the hall was the same, but on one chair, Shri Swami was there, and the other chair was vacant, and Lakshmi Amma was sitting at the door. She didn't say anything, and mother and I stood quietly in the bhajan mandir, and there was total silence. And suddenly Swami appeared in the mandir, and he stood by the second chair. On one chair, Shri Baba was there, whose darshan I had just taken. On the other chair, Swami was there. And Swami kept looking at me. Swami kept looking at me. And it was the same experience I felt. Swami was standing there. And it was the same experience, walking towards him and walking into him. And Swami became more than just a form. That was my first experience of Swami's darshan in Puttaparthi. So it was a very beautiful experience. Now this I won't say is just my experience, because this is what it's all about. This is what we are, the atma and the Paramatma relationship, and the understanding of it. Well, it will come sooner or later, but it will come to everyone. So it was absolute love, pure unconditional love. This Swami was giving. And the best part of it, when I was going, I told Swami, the thing is, I'm going from here, leaving my father-in-law who can't see me out of his eyes for 5 minutes. So now, if you are calling me, then you have to see to it that he's comfortable here and he doesn't miss me. You will not believe, when I came back, he didn't ask me even once, where were you? For these almost 10 days I was away. Where were you for these 10 days? He didn't miss me at all. He didn't feel my absence at all, and he looked at the best of me. So that is what Swami is. You just give to him the responsibility, put everything in his care, then just forget about it. He does his duty. So that was another experience right in the very beginning I got. Thereafter, there were 3 questions. The experience of these answers to those 3 questions took me very far. They really brought out a lot of transformation. The first was, in the very first interview, I was not fully familiar with how it goes. My sisters were. So we were sitting in the outer room, and I was a little at the back. Then suddenly he asked me, looking at me, from where have you come? And we were posted in Pune at that time. So I started, Swami, who? I could just say, who? He didn't let me complete it. And I just looked at him. He was looking at me. And suddenly, what the thoughts or the words he put into mouth were from you, Swami. And he said, yes, yes, yes. That suddenly it removed all feeling of any kind of alignment with any place. So that is what it is, that experience of disaligning yourself from various things which he wants us to do. He started then. The second question at another interview was when we went there, and he was asking about everybody, and everybody was talking about the children. Then suddenly he stopped conversation and he asked me, how are your children? Now, the children, my body children, their faces had flashed before me. It was my Bal Vikas children. They just came before my eyes, all of them. And I just looked at Swami. I said, Swami, all your children. And all he said was, very happy, very happy, very happy. I had took away all my real attachment to my children, but my love for them increased manifold because it gradually started becoming unconditional. So that is another experience just by asking such a simple question, Swami came. The third experience was sometime later we were sitting in the Tilpan hall and Swami came, and it so happened that so sudden movement was there. And I just landed there almost in front. And Swami was passing that way. The Paramatma was not what it is now. There was so anyway, so he was passing that way, and he just stopped. And Hindu Didi from behind gave me a letter. The letter Swami to Dedo. So I was giving the letter, and then he asked me, "When are you going?" The thoughts he put to them, total silence. There was no words exchanged. Thoughts he put into me were, "Swami, I have come. Where is the coming? Where is the going?" And he looked so intensely. I can't forget that look. I really felt, yes, what the experience had given me, that I had come home in that question, in that answer, in just silence, pure silence. He gave me that experience that yes, there's no coming, there is no going. There is only the omnipresence of which we have to experience, and which we have to explore, which we have to understand, and which we have to follow. So these three questions, he transforms in a very subtle way, and these three questions brought about a lot of, I would say, subtle transformation, which I was not really realizing. I was just going to the flow. So that happened. Then the other thing happened was that I was going to Puttaparthi. This was another occasion. I got my return tickets from Puttaparthi, from Dharmavaram. At that time, we had to get down at Dharmavaram. And the train left Dharmavaram at 12:05 at night. And after the stay in Puttaparthi, I decided to go to Bangalore and put my mother on the flight to Bombay or Delhi, somewhere, and then catch my train to Dharmavaram. My booking was from Dharmavaram. So I went to the compartment. I went and sat on the berth, which I thought was mine. And that's it. Sometime later, when the TT came to check the ticket, he checked the ticket. Then he went away. After some time, he came back. He said, "Madam, you don't have an onward ticket from Dharmavaram." Because I bought a ticket from Bangalore to Dharmavaram, and Dharmavaram onward, I had the reservation. So he said, "But you don't have a ticket from Dharmavaram to Pune." So he said, "No, of course I have. Here's the ticket." So he said, "Madam, your train left yesterday." I said, "But it says 12:05. So yes, he says 12:05 was yesterday. So I said, "Okay, then what do I do?" So he said, at Dharmavaram, you'll have to get down. Or because we don't have any of this thing, so you'll have to probably buy a ticket and move into the general compartment. So there was this boy on the next bird, a very good-looking boy. Then he suddenly looked at me and he said, "Auntie, ऐसा करो आप सो जाओ, अभी तो धर्मावरम में 4 घंटे हैं और तब देखेंगे." And believe me, I have never slept so soundly. I just went off to sleep. When Dharmavaram came, so TT came to this boy. I got up. Then this boy said, "Auntie, आप इधर ही बैठो, मैं अभी आता हूँ." So he went out, and the TT went out, and he came back sometime later, and he handed me the ticket. "Auntie, ये आपका ticket है, इसी बात पे है, आपका reservation, you will continue, no problem." So I said, you would have paid for, and I never used to carry that kind of money to pay for a second ticket. So I said ऐसा है कि मुझे अपना address दे दो. On reaching Pune, I will send you the money. So he said, no need. I said, no, that's not right. You just give me your address. So he gave me an address. And I said, where are you going? He said, I'm going to Bombay. I stay there. And it's okay. 1 hour later, Anantapur came. And he was getting down there. So I said, you said you stay in Bombay and you're getting down at Anantapur? No, suddenly I have to do some work here, important work. So I have to get down. So we got down. After coming to Pune, we sent the money on their address. The money came back to us saying there is no address by this name anywhere there. So that is how it came back. And that is how he takes care of you. This was actually, I think, my first or second visit to Bhakti. And he showed me, money is not important. Money is not important in your yearning for Almighty. Money is the last. The only thing is that you want to be there or not. If you want to be there, then he is there. So that was a beautiful experience which I had about this train journey. So now he's again reminding me. On another occasion, Swami had come to Mumbai. My younger brother was there, but I was going to Dharmkshetra. Swami was there. Now I was in the train, and suddenly Lonavala, I felt very thirsty. So I just asked for a fruity from the seller. He gave me a fruity, and I was about to drink it. Then I opened my bag and to look for my wallet. It was not there. Then I suddenly remembered just before my husband was checking everything in the bag, and he asked me to remove the ticket and keep it in another pocket, and my wallet in another pocket. But it was all in that bag. So how come it's not there? Fortunately, I had not opened the fruity, so I gave it back to him. And now there was no way of turning back. So I was without money, going to this huge town called Bombay with nothing in my pocket. But anyways, I was going to Swami. 3 days I was there. I had not even informed my brother. 3 days I was there. And 3 days I didn't need money, not even a penny. Khana, pina, everything was taken care of. And then when I came back, I said, I don't know what happened to that wallet. 3 months later, I was cleaning up my linen cupboard, which was on the other end of the house. And under the stack of sheets was that wallet. No way it could have reached there. No way it could have reached there, because that was not the room I had visited at all. And it was my husband who was helping me to keep everything in my bag. And he again reiterated, of course I kept it in your bag, in this pocket, that pocket, anyway. So once again, Swami showed me that you don't need money to come to Swami. Swami doesn't need your money. Swami doesn't need anybody's. Swami is there. Just depend on him. So that is not my experience alone. That is the experience probably he wants me to share with everyone. To realize that it is only the urge and the desire to be in Swami that is important. And the rest he takes care of. So that was another beautiful experience which I had. And then the next was this Prashanti Seva. So in 1991, I got the opportunity for Seva in Prashanti, month of September. And we reached there, was that our registration and everything, whatever the formalities. And at those times, Sevadals were not giving the rooms. But my sisters had just got their rooms, especially the eldest sister in West 7. And I was the first person to have been given the keys to stay in that room. But as I opened the door, there was a letter from my elder sister saying my daughter was very ill and she thought it was her duty to inform me because, and the decision, she left the decision to me for me to make whether I wanted to stay on for Seva or go to Lucknow to see how she was doing. She said, but at the same time, she also wished me all the best for my Seva. So I just sat there and she gave me all the details, closed my eyes, and I said, Swami, this is not fair. This is an opportunity you have given, and you called me. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm here. You be there. So she's in your care, and I'm not leaving the same. And so after that, we were called by Mrs. Shori to be given our sevas. And she gave me Mandir Seva, and she gave me 2 wheelchair patients. Imagine, my daughter was ill there, and here she gave me 2 wheelchair patients. And she tells me, these devotees are very close to Swami, and anything, whatever, will reach Swami directly. So I'm giving these 2 patients to you. So you have to be very careful. You don't have to enter their rooms and don't get into any kind of familiarity with them because they don't like that. So you just have to ferry them, bring them for darshan, take them back. Okay. So, and they are very, very sort of hot tempered. So they get angry very fast. So I'm warning you. Okay. She gave me all the instructions and everything. So next day the duty started. 3 o'clock we reported for cleaning the mandir. And after that I went to collect the first lady, then the second lady. So in the beginning, Mrs. Verma was a little thing, but anyways, soon she would not talk to me much. The other one would. So the seva continued. On the last day of the seva, this Mrs. Verma, when I had got the wheelchair to take her back to her room, she said, "Sit here." Very sharp. She said, "Sit here." I said, "I cannot sit here. Seva girls cannot sit here on duty. So I'll be outside the gate. I'll come back again." She again, fired me. She said, "I'm telling you to sit. Please sit here. You will not go from here." So I didn't know what to do. And at those times, we had the instructions from Mrs. Shori that we will not do namaste, pranam to Swami. We will not look at Swami. And we will sit with our back to Swami if suppose Swami came, when we were on duty. So now I didn't know what to do. So the only thing I could do was turn towards the wall, parapet wall, and my back towards the mandir. This lady, Mrs. Verma, again, she said, this is bad manners. How can you do that? Sit with your back towards me. What to do? I said, we are not supposed to sit here. I'll wait for you outside. She said, no, you will not stir from here. I was literally shivering. I didn't know what to do. So I sat there and kept my head down and eyes closed. I know I'm going to get it from Mrs. Shori when I go from here because wheelchair I've left outside. So anyways, when I opened my eyes, Swami was, no, Anantapur girls were there. They had to come to say bye to Swami before leaving for Anantapur. So they were there expecting Swami to come down. But Swami didn't come down. He was there upstairs in the balcony. And from there, he Abhay Haste to right here, he said, now go early. After that, all the children went. There were just 3-4 boys on the other end. Mrs. Verma, me, and my second duty. So then I just closed sat with my head down and not trying to open my eyes. And then suddenly, Mrs. Verma shook me up. I opened my eyes and there was someone right in front with Abhay Hast. And he was smiling at me. And I didn't know where to look, what to look, but it was so beautiful. It was a beautiful experience. And then he smiled, and then he went. And then Mrs. Verma said, "See, he wanted to see you with us. He wanted to acknowledge you with us. That's why I wanted you to sit. We are so happy. We are so happy. We are so happy with you." She was suddenly such a gentle, benign, loving person, radiating Swami's love. I said, "Swami, you have given the seva. You have accepted the seva." When I came back after the seva, my daughter was fine. She came home from her holidays, the Dasera holidays. She was absolutely fine. So that was a beautiful experience of seva. And the experience he gave me is seva. For whom do you seva? Who is the seva? And for whom you are doing the seva? They're actually one and the same. They are not different. So never have the feeling that I am doing seva or you are doing seva, for whom I am doing seva. Seva is seva. And seva has no I or mine or thine. So that was a beautiful experience I had with Swami. And the other was we were in Bangalore, and I was going with my mother to Puttaparthi, and from Bangalore to Puttaparthi, and there was some traffic on the traffic detour on the highway, so we had to turn into the interiors, and we were passing this vineyards, and suddenly we came across a vineyard which was loaded with grapes, the red grapes, round red grapes, and looking so beautiful. And I was mesmerized, and I just asked the taxi driver to just stop the car there, and absolutely one possessed, I just opened the door and ran into that vineyard where these beautiful women, I mean, they looked from a totally different trend, and they were plucking grapes. And you will not believe, they would pluck the grape and put it in my mouth. So I said, "Where am I? Where am I?" Then I said, "Can I take some grapes with me?" So he said, Of course. So I said, "One basket." Okay. So then I don't know why I said, "So one basket for Swami, one basket for the old ladies who live in the ashram." So I said, "Okay, give me 2 baskets." So I said that's the kind of money probably I'll have. See, money. So then they packed 2 big baskets, and not only that, my mother was sitting in the car. These women, I mean, they were not women of this tribe, but anyway, they went and put the grapes behind my mother, back seat, front seats. Grapes are all over in the car. And when I asked them, "How much do I pay?" So this manager came and she said, "Madam, एक basket का 5 रुपया." I said, "Yeah, पूरी भरी basket 5 रुपया." Anyway, like a fool, I took out 10 rupees, gave to him, and he drove off. And as you like, I said, "My God, how can I be so miserly?" Swami shares everything with the students. He gives everything to the boys. And I didn't think of the boys. How will this one basket cover everyone? And I thought, "Acha, from the next vineyard, we will turn." But believe me, after that, no vineyard came which had grapes. I was feeling so guilty. I was feeling terrible. And I was telling my mother, "What have I done? Why did I think of money and this and that?" She said, "No, calm down." So we reached Parthi. And I was all the time, feeling very bad. From when we came there, my brother-in-law was there. He had also come over. So he was waiting near our best 7. So I just told him, "Bhai sir, I have some grapes for Swami. So can you?" He had his car also. So he said, "Acha, मैं office लेकर आता हूँ." So he took 1 basket and 1 basket for the elderly ladies I had kept. So when he went to give it in the office, they never asked, but they asked, see how Swami worked. He asked Bhai Sahab that, "Do you have some more grapes? Because Swami gives to everyone." So Bhai Sahab came back and he said, "Ki aur grapes hai?" And then I had this basket for the old women. So now my guilt became more, my repentance became more, but I gave that basket. I said, okay, whatever the grapes are lying in the car, that I will give to them. So I gave the second basket also to myself. He went and gave them. Now the whole night I couldn't sleep. I was tossing, turning, crying, weeping, crying out to Swami, Swami, what have you done? What have I done? And but I know you will multiply them and you will give to them to everyone. I know you will do it, but please forgive me for this thing. Next day, he called us, my son, my mother, and me. Only three of us were there. And I was crying. And I kept saying, Swami, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. Swami looked at me, kept his hand on my head, said, Ma, Sai ka socha, sabka socha. That experience I can never forget because I knew at that time that every mouth would have been fed with those grapes. I was fully convinced, and that was a beautiful experience, which again taught me that money is not it. And what he said, Sai ka socha, sabka socha, because Sai is not different from us. Sai and I are one. Sai, we are not two. They're just one. But he was taking me on that journey with this experience. And perhaps with those experiences, he's taking all of us today on the journey of oneness. What can I give to Swami? Who's the giver? Who's the taker? We think we are giving, but we really cannot give. What is there to give? Everything is this. Now, another thing happened. We were in Kodaikanal. All of us were there, family. And it so happened that we were in the first row. And Swami was walking down. Suddenly, I had a strong urge to offer lavang to Swami. No, there were lavangs in my wallet. But how could I offer? I didn't have anything to offer, neither a katori or a plate or anything. I can't give them in my bare hands. But that urge was so strong, that as Swami was walking towards us, I just took out those logs. There must be around 9-10 of those, and I kept them on my palm. And now I closed my palm and said, Swami, I'm going to be so discourteous to offer lavangs like this. But as he came closer, my palm just opened and I offered the lavangs to Swami. Swami came, he put his hand on the lavangs and he started fiddling with his fingers. And I felt as if he was writing something on my palm. I didn't know what. But he was fiddling with his palms on with his fingers on my palm. And after that, he smiled and he put one lavang in his mouth and he went. After that, I put all the lavangs back in my wallet. And after Swami went, then I said, let me share with my sisters. So I opened the wallet. The lavangs were covered with vibhuti. So I gave to my sisters and then two were left. So first I thought I will take them, but then I don't know, for whatever reason, I just left them there. And then I came back to Pune. When I came to Pune, a very, very ardent devotee, very beautiful devotee of Swami, he called me. He said, Didi, my wife has delivered twins yesterday by cesarean section, but complication has happened and she has to be operated again tomorrow because it has become septic and the pus has traveled to her ribs and X-rays showing that it is moving towards the spine. So they are going to operate on her tomorrow. So I just heard, I said, can you come home? So he said, I'm in the hospital. I said, just for 5 minutes, can you come home? Okay, I'm coming. So he came. I didn't even say anything to him. I just went, took those 2 lavangs out of the wallet and just put them in something and gave it to him. I said, can you give these to Dada? He said, okay, if they let me. I said, okay. So he took them. Next morning, she was being taken, and before that, they did another X-ray. The pus had dried, and there was no need for surgery. So Swami gives to someone, but for what purpose, where it has to reach, is his sankalpa, and who's needing it. I was not perhaps needing it, and I didn't even offer it with that kind of intention. I just wanted him to have it. That's about all, and he had it. But he wrote something on my palm which had to reach to that lady because she was in trouble. Her husband was in trouble. Her little twins were in trouble. So that is the compassionate Swami. That is how he answers a prayer. That is how his omnipresence is there. He is just love, pure, unconditional. And that is what he wants us to become. So that was another beautiful experience of how Swami passes. But another very beautiful experience, which is beautiful. Sometimes, I don't know how Swami always accepted Tulsi on his divine lotus feet from me. So I had got into the habit of always carrying Tulsi leaves with me for darshan. And my भाई साहब always used to say ये कैसा होता है जब भगवान इंटरव्यू बुलाते हैं तुम्हारे हाथ में तुलसी के पत्ते होते हैं. So I said I don't know how it happens. That particular day, Swami came for darshan, and normally if we were not there, so I used to after darshan take them in my mouth. So that day after the darshan was over, and Swami took some people for interview. So we were getting up, and then I was about to put the tulsi pattas in my mouth. And the Swami came out and called Bhai Sahib to call us. And so quickly, I just put the tulsi leaves into my wallet, and we ran and sat in the veranda. Swami came out to call us in. In that hurry flurry, when I tried to take out the tulsi leaf, one came out whole and one broke into half. Now I said, my God, what's happening? Two things. First, how can I leave this half behind? Second, how can I offer a broken leaf to Swami? So what am I supposed to do? But there was no time. I had to leave the wallet behind, and I saw that half leaf in the wallet, and I felt so bad for that half leaf. And I walked with that 1.5 leaf into the room and kept my hand like this. How can I offer 1.5 leaf? The other half is broken. So after some time talking to everyone, Swami looked at me and did his hand like this. So she says, he's asking me to offer now. How do I offer? I kept my muthi closed. So again he did like this. So then I moved closer and closed my eyes. Just put the leaves on his divine lotus feet. Not wanting to open my eyes to see those 1.5 leaves and missing that half a leaf behind it. So when I opened my eyes, he will not believe. There were 2 full, lush green leaves on Swami's divine lotus feet. And he looked at me, I looked at him. There were no words exchanged. But he was again, as I said, love. And I, the doubting Thomas, when we came out of the room, I ran to my wallet to pick up my wallet to see how the left half to see was feeling. And there was no half to see the wallet. There was no tulsi at all. I knew Swami had to leave the tulsi leaf. Like he makes each one of us whole, each one of us complete. That was his mission, and that is the experience he gave me then. There's nothing broken, there's nothing harm. Everything is complete in itself. You just have to be there. You just have to be aware, and he is always there. So that was another bit, and I never felt that it was I who was ever giving him this. He never let me have that feeling. That was his grace. So when he's sharing this, it is not just about tulsi leaf. It's not about the broken leaf. It's not about the offering leaves. It is offering of ourselves to us. It's just pure offering ourselves. We think ourselves we are half, we are broken, but we are not. He is there to make us complete. There was this Sai sister, Sai Meera. So I had gone out with her to buy some medicines. Normally, I never like to go out to the ashram, but we needed that medicine, so I went out with her. Returning from there, I just remarked to her, I've been coming here for so long, but I have never seen the Kalpataru, which I've read so much about it. So he said, you want to come now? I said, okay. So let's go. She said, will you be able to climb? Because it is quite a steep climb. So I said, let us try, since this thought has come. So let us. So we climbed some part. The last climb was really steep. I said, Mira, how are we going to do it? Suddenly, this boy came from behind and he gave both of us a piece of paper and the pen. He said, you're going to Kaltaru? So we said, yes. So he said, Acha, you take this paper and write your wish and put it on the taru. That wish will be fulfilled. So I said, no, we don't have any wish. We are just going to darshan. Before I knew, he had lifted me. I don't know how I felt lifted. And then I found myself on that hilltop and in front of the Kaltaru. Meera came behind me and then she asked me, Didi, ये तो paper है, इस पे wish लिखनी है. So I said, Swami has taught us only one prayer, Samasta Loka Sukhinu Bhavantu. And that is the only prayer. So she said, no personal wish. I said, there's no personal wish. Okay, then both of us wrote that only. And we just put it on the Kaltaru. And I don't remember how we came back and then tried to look for that boy. There was no boy around. And we came to our room. And soon Meera used to live outside. So she called. She said, have you spoken to your daughter? So I said, daughter, from where is she? Come suddenly. She said, Mumbai. So she said, no, you must speak to her. So I said, why? So she said, no, please speak to her. So I said, okay. I tried to call her. My eldest sister has a mobile at that time. I didn't. So I tried to call her, but there was no response. So ठीक है, रात हो गई, 9 बज गए, लाइट्स और हम तो सो गए. Next morning again Meera called, did you talk to your daughter? I said, no, I tried, but there was no response from her. So she said, no, you try her again. So I tried calling her again. She didn't pick up. So then I called my son who was in Pune. So I said, is everything all right? He said, हाँ, ठीक है. So I said, Meera, क्या बात होगी? ठीक है. So she said, no, you called Divya. So Divya was not responding. So I called my son-in-law. Now son-in-law he picked up the phone. It was by this time I had done after darshan. So I asked him, where are you? So he said very coolly, he said, in office, of course. So I said, Acha, you should be there, but I'm calling home. Divya is not picking up. So he said, she had a difficult night, probably. So she's tired and probably she's sleeping. I'll ask her to give you a call. So around 12 or 1 probably, she called me. And then she gave me the full description of the terrorist attack there, in which my son-in-law was there in that hotel with 34 or 35 foreigners. And there was this attack, and they were all huddled into a room, and suddenly the manager came and he said to the other escape, I will try to get you out. So as he was coming down with the foreigners, and they were all the Westerners, and as he was coming out, suddenly a jeep crossed him, and with a man holding a gun but facing the other way around. So he didn't see them, and then he was escorted by the police and all and taken to the office. And these foreigners who were staying in the other hotel, where again they had attacked. So all their passports and all got destroyed. So anyway, so that was the thing that happened that day. So then in the evening, my eldest sister and her son-in-law was also there in the evening. But before this terrorist attack happened, his work finished, so he left. So both the sons-in-law were actually in the same hotel. One left before the attack and one was there during the attack. So in the evening, my sister sat with a letter of gratitude to Swami, and Swami came to her and she expressed her gratitude for saving both the sons-in-law, and Swami accepted her gratitude. And then I understood the efficacy of Samasta Loka Sukhivantu, what it means. It is a universal prayer. One, he says, when you think of Sai, you think of everyone. But when you think of everyone, then do you think of Sai? So that is the experience which he gave me on that particular thing. So like this, there are so many experiences which everyone is having. It's not that me alone has had this experience. These experiences Swami is probably sharing because they're so common. They're so common that we just have to be just aware. That is what he said. He always remained in Sai consciousness because once in an interview, my sister would remember, he was relating that episode of Raja Parikshit, and he said that Swami, after listening to Bhagavatam for 7 days, he told Shukdev ji that I have listened to Bhagavatam for 7 days and I love Krishna intensely. But there's some difference between my love and Gopi's love. What can that be? So immediately Shukdev asked me, Rajan, who was Krishna? So, of course, Krishna was God. That's the difference. Gopis never questioned who Krishna was. Krishna to them was Krishna and Krishna. They were always immersed in Krishna consciousness. Similarly, always remained immersed in Sai consciousness. So that was another experience from Swami. And like this, there is no end to experiences. As he says, he said in one of the interviews, Ma, experiences are many. Experiences are unlimited. Practice is important. Practice, practice, practice. See Sai in everything. See Sai in everything. See him cockroach, see him lizard, see him in every creature, every leaf, every flower, and everything. And then you find that we are one in the same. So like that, he gave experiences, he gave some letters, he gave some compositions, and which were always emphasizing in only oneness, 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 oneness. And that is how it is. Every breath is actually an experience of Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. Brahma is when we take the breath, it is creation. When we hold the breath, it is preservation, Vishnu. And we take out the breath, it is Shiva, and it is destruction of. So we have in a breath all the Trinity, all the time. So every time we are experiencing this Trinity, we just have to be aware. Swami wants me to sing one of his compositions to you. Can I do that? Jab jab dhoondhu to hai sai, अपने में तुझको मैं पाऊं मोरे साई, जब जब ढूंढूं तो है साई, अपने में तुझको मैं पाऊं मोरे साई, जब जब ढूंढूं तो है साई. लोग कहे तो जग में है नाही, लोग कहे तो जग में है नाही, नयन घुमाऊं चहुर मोरे साई, नयन घुमाऊं चहुर मोरे साई, जब जब ढूंढूं तो है साई, परती में आऊं नहीं आऊं मोरे साई, परती में आऊं नहीं आऊं मोरे साई, परती बसत मोरे मन साई, परती बसत मोरे मन साई, जब जब ढूंढूं तो है साई. तोरी कृपा प्रभु यह मैं जानूं, तोरी कृपा प्रभु यह मैं जानूं, सपने दिखे मोहे छवि तोरे साई, सपने दिखे मोहे छवि तोरे साई, जब जब ढूंढूं तो है साई, तुम्हारे जगत में मन लागे नाही, तुम्हें जगत में मन लागे ना, अपने मिलो मोहि तुम अब साई, अपने मिलो मोहि तुम अब साई, जब जब ढूंढूं तो है साई, अपने में तुझको मैं पाऊं मोरे साई, जब जब ढूंढूं तो है साई।